Joshua Silverman of Constantly Calibrating, here with Dominic, one of the founders of SideQuest. So, Dominic, tell us first off about SideQuest, for people who may not have any idea what it is.
SideQuest is a community event that was founded in 2011 and was an opportunity for members of the Rooster Teeth community to meet up before, during, and after RTX. When I say during RTX, I don't mean at the exact same time that RTX is happening. I mean outside the confines of the normal event structure. So, for example, we have evening activities on the Saturdays and Sundays, and we have a pre-party on the Thursday, and we have an after-party, a goodbye party on the Monday. So it was originally actually done as an opportunity to meet up because everyone was pretty scared that there were only going to be 200 tickets being sold.
Sure.
And it's this wonderful feeling. This is the toughest thing for me to try and communicate, is the feeling of, tickets are going to go sale for the biggest Rooster Teeth event ever that they're officially backing, and there's only 200 of them. So everyone was kind of freaked out that they wouldn't get in, but at the same time it was really exciting for the people thinking about getting in. So SideQuest was founded sort of as a way for people who weren't going to be able to get in to have something to be able to experience, but also for people who, like myself. I'm not from Austin, I'm from Canada.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting for me to be able to visit that city. So I brought a kind of outsider perspective to it of trying to meet people, because that's what I love doing. I love socializing and meeting other members of the community. So SideQuest kind of fulfilled all of those needs in between the structure of RTX.
Fair enough. So what are some activities that are part of SideQuest? Like, what can people, obviously by the time people see this year's SideQuest will already be done, but
sure.
Where do you do SideQuests, and what can people typically expect to experience, other than just meeting the community, members themselves?
Well, there's a lot of very exciting things that can happen, and there's no magic formula to it. We try and keep a lot of stuff very low-key. The thing that's a lot of effort and organization goes into every year is our silent charity auction.
I loved 2 years ago when I went. I loved that. I regretted we couldn't make it this year because flights just didn't.
Too bad.
Yeah, it just didn't work out.
It's a really magical experience for a lot of reasons, but I think one of the reasons it's memorable is because there's two kind of things that typically happen at our pre-party, the Thursday night.
Yeah.
Aside from the charity auction, you have people who are meeting each other for the very first time. Yeah. This is the first event they've ever gone to, and they're experiencing what it means to be part of the Rooster Teeth community in real life.
Sure.
So that's exciting. But you also have the people who are veterans and who've been there before and are really looking forward to their one day a year that they get to meet all their friends. Yeah. Well, they're 1 weekend a year, but this is the first start of that whole weekend.
Yeah, you're the lead-in, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice, gentle lead-in to RTX. So you have this pre-party auction, which we raise money for several charities like Child's Play, Extra Life, Operation Supply Drop, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
All good stuff.
And we also have on Saturday, tonight, we have what's called a Bar Olympics. But don't be fooled by the title. It's not really totally about drinking.
Yeah.
It's a catchy, fun title that's taking place in the evening, which means if you like drinking, it's good.
It's a good place to go.
More, it's about the competition. We follow a red versus blue theme.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who came up with that idea?
I don't know. Maybe some drunk guys.
Probably.
But we try and find fun ways for people to get to know Austin and to know each other. So there's a bit of team building, a bit of getting to know the community better, and that's what happens at the Bar Olympics on Saturday night.
Okay.
And the winners of the Bar Olympics are engraved on our SideQuest cup. So
all right.
they get to be...
You get immortalized. You get essentially
exactly.
You get that little trophy,
exactly.
that little the pin on the wall of fame, or the thing on the wall of fame that we all crave and maybe not even realize. You don't know which wall of fame you'll end up on in your life, but if you end up on some. So
it's a funny thing to think about how there's going to be different teams to each plaque, and as time goes on, maybe down a few years from now, people will be like, I was that year, or I was that year, and
You even have the at RTX, I don't know, 10 or something, you have in SideQuest 10, you have the All-Star, essentially.
Exactly.
You have like a whole competition specifically between people.
You're getting me thinking here. I should hire you to maybe do this next year.
Hey, I'm getting the thumbs up from over there, so I'll take it.
Done. Didn't say that.
No, but crap, it's on video. I guess I'll get credit, right? Well, okay. So yeah, I love this idea of community. So speaking of the community, where does your start with Rooster Teeth community? I know you've obviously been around for some time.
Yes.
I even remember seeing your names when I joined years ago. I see your name appear sometimes, Count 3D here and there. So I'm like, so how'd you get involved with Rooster Teeth?
It was in high school, actually, when I first heard about it. And the moment when I realized this was something different was when someone brought in a DVD of Red vs. Blue to my high school. And that's a really revolutionary moment for me personally, because that was seeing something that was produced on the internet in DVD format. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before.
It was a one-of-a-kind thing, essentially, at the time at least.
Yeah, I looked at this DVD and goes, wow, this is really well done. This isn't something that, people just, I guess you could say they made it for fun, but they really made something more than just, a fun show you're going to put online and forget about it.
Yeah.
And it really took off, and based on all of its strengths. I mean, the comedy, the writing, the characters, everything they had going for it, it was different. Nothing had been quite done with, using Halo to the extent that they had used it on. And that was in, I guess, 2004, and then I signed up on the website in 2005, and I've been actively involved in several community events in various capacities over the years. Like the first event, RBBTO, I was helping with that for volunteering for about 6 years. And then I helped organize RBB CanWest in Vancouver for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then from that went to SideQuest.
So you've been pretty much for the last, since 05, so the last 9 years, you've been kind of the event guy in a lot of respects.
I'm just a community guy, in the sense that, I'm like a citizen of a community. So I'm trying my best to give back to a community that has been really awesome to me and I've been really enjoying. Yeah.
That's outstanding. So where do you hope to see, this is a very broad question here, but where do you hope to see the Rooster Teeth community? How do you hope it grows, I guess, in the future?
Well, it's kind of weird because RTX, they've said that it was almost founded as a way, because they had been to so many fan events and community events before, and they wanted to centralize and localize that.
Yeah.
And instead of going to 1 million of them all over the world, they could then go to have one where you could see all of them in one go. So what's interesting is I've seen a lot more community events spring up all over the place. Yeah. And I don't think that's going to stop. I think there's going to be more community events that people who visit RTX realize, oh, wow. Because I think the community is still one of their community website, their social website, is still one of their best weapons.
Oh, no question. Yeah, they were social media before there was social media.
Exactly. Before YouTube, I hadn't seen anyone doing the mod point system before Rooster Teeth. They had something that was really unique, because you could also plus something, but you could also negative something. Yeah.
It was a huge idea. I remember when that was briefly taken away from the website. There was such outrage because it was a unique thing to Rooster Teeth that everyone loved, and obviously they brought it back because
people missed it.
And people missed it, and that's again, why we come out to RTX. While we're fans. I mean, we're doing press stuff, but we're obviously fans as well. We love the response, the fact that the community gets listened to.
Exactly. Rooster Teeth listens to their community, and there's so many things I could point out that speak to that. The mod system is another great one.
Yep.
But I really think that they're so unique. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about all the things that they do that, giving away their content for free.
Yeah.
A lot of companies don't do that.
I mean, the fact is, yes, there's a sponsorship thing, but you still get all the content free. You just maybe you wait an hour, maybe you wait a day for something, but you're still going to see it all. And it's high production value stuff. I mean, I think their lowest production stuff isn't low production. It's specifically meant to look a certain way. Kind of like everything is great quality.
You're speaking of quality. Quality is always something they want to push.
Yeah.
And you're talking about what's going to change, or what's ahead. And I can tell you that they're working on a new version of the website.
Yeah,
and not only that, but a new app. So that's going to be something that I think that the quality is going to be at a very high level. It's going to be something that's better for the community in terms of how they can connect and how they can just be able to use what's given to them.
Absolutely.
Connect with the company.
You're making me smile here thinking about this, because I've been hearing the little, was Adam Baird making little comments here, little comments there about things, and it's always it's on the horizon. Barbara makes a comment here or there.
Yes.
So it's cool to hear how they're pushing that technology to make things, to take what they've already have, a great system, but push it forward, which is obviously great for the community.
Yeah.
Keeps people informed. So, speaking of the community, there's a little thing people might not know at RTX. You guys have the Guardians, which you are part of. Now, explain the Guardians for people who may not know, because most people might just think it's a volunteer thing, but it's a little more than that, from my understanding.
Yeah. And speaking of the community, the very first Guardians were taken from the RVBTX community group on Rooster Teeth. And they loved it. It worked out so well the first year that they decided to continue that tradition by selecting people from within the community to be their volunteers, their sort of army on the ground, their hands, their eyes, their ears, making sure that everything is working on the day of the event. Because you can't run a event with 1,000 people, 30,000 people without a lot of volunteers to help make sure every little function, every piece is working at the same time.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of different roles and functions that the Guardians do. They're sort of the equivalent, if you've been to PAX, there's the Enforcers.
I was about to say.
Comic-Con has the Elites. Emerald City Comic-Con has the Minions. Everyone has their own thing. Yeah. So RTX has the Guardians. And SideQuest also has their own volunteers, believe it or not. They're called the Spectres.
I've been seeing that popping up in the Twitter feed. I'm like, I know that term from other things. I don't know the term. I didn't know that from 2 years ago. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So what they do is they function a lot like any volunteer at an event. They have to fulfill a lot of different things. RT has store guardians, for example, that make sure that everyone who's going through the store gets those people handle all the money and cash and make sure all the products go through fine. I'm an exhibitor guardian, so I make sure that the exhibitors are all fine, because there's about, I think, 50 of them this year.
Yeah.
And they vary. We have some who are just two-man crews, and they're selling a special kind of Cards Against Humanity type game. There's one called
Super Fight.
Yes, thank you. And there's much larger ones like Iron Gaming, where they have 16 game stations set
massive booth takes up
screens,
a chunk of the convention area.
A huge chunk of the convention center that there's going to be a lot of people there. Mm-hmm. But then there's other stuff like the line guardians, who have to make sure that there's lines for autographs and panels, and there's people manning those to make sure that they don't get out of control. And of course, the security guardians, who make sure that sometimes staff members decide to walk through the convention hall.
Yeah.
And I heard a story today, actually, that Bernie decided to walk through the convention hall.
We watched it.
With his family, and it was like watching the President of the United States. There were about 6 really big dudes surrounding him in a circle, and this sort of, it's like the eye of a storm, was all these people trying to get to him with autographs and things, and it's just moving through this mass of people.
When we first saw that he wasn't quite surrounded yet, but we're walking behind. I don't think it was 343. It was the booth that's doing the motion capture and the statuettes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. But so I think they were coming across there. We walked in. We looked over. It's like, is that Bernie's family? Wait, wow, that's a lot of Guardians.
Yeah.
Holy crap! And then we heard stories a little bit later about him just getting swarmed. And I've experienced that 2 years ago. I had an interview with Bernie, and they couldn't, our interview kept getting pushed back. It kept getting pushed back, 5-minute chunks and less than a minute taken off, because they couldn't get Bernie to the place. And he is the rock star, essentially.
Yes.
He is there's a lot of, obviously there's the original members of Rooster Teeth, and there's different levels, different importance people, but Bernie is the guy for a lot of people. He's who every person wants to meet.
Yes.
So it's not surprising, but yeah, the idea of so many Guardians around, it was a cool thing to witness,
So I think it's really cool because, so many of these people I've known for however many years, and I really am appreciative of Chris and Mary, the head Guardians, who have been my friends. They're almost like family for years at this point. And every year, I get to know more people, and it becomes this building up of all of the people that I've known over the years. It's a really wonderful unit to work for, a really wonderful volunteer group.
Definitely. Well, not to, we're speaking very highly, but there's a reason we speak highly of you guys, the Guardians. We try to stop. Anytime we are in a situation where we're staying still, we see a Guardian, we like to talk to them and, hear some of their thoughts and, say nice words, because I've been to a few conventions over the last few years, and a local one, which I won't name check specifically, they have volunteers, and they're not well trained usually. I mean, 50-50, but they don't. It's a big convention. They don't really seem to be well trained. They don't really quite know what they're doing, and some of them are just plain rude. I've had experiences this year with Guardians, and quite a few. I mean, I probably met in some level 30 people at some point or other, and I have had the worst experience I had. I'd still probably rank an 8.5.
Yeah.
I mean, very nice people, firm when they need to be, but everyone knows what they're doing, sometimes to such a T that it scares you how quickly you get a response. Like, you ask a question and you're like, oh, wait, you didn't have to go like check with somebody? Holy crap.
I've been to a number of large conventions, and I went to one that shall remain nameless that apparently hires their volunteers through a third-party service, the lowest bidder or something like that. And they're pretty rude, very unhelpful, and just it's something of a refreshing feeling to see people who come from the same cloth as you, come from the same place as you, but are also, they could almost just as easily be attendees.
Yeah.
But they're on the other side of the fence. They have a responsibility, and they have to make sure that everything runs properly. So
it's a really impressive thing, because as you said, it's all the community. These are people pulled from the community. So, much like us, much like the attendees, you guys are fans foremost. So you know what you want to experience. Yeah. So you're going to try to make sure that everyone else experiences that same exact idea.
One thing they told us on the first day was that there were, I think it was 1,600 or 1,800 people who applied to be Guardians this year, and they only had about 300. So they said, just remember, 3 other people we had to say no to get to you. So
make it count. There's a reason you were chosen. Yeah, that's 1,800. That's a crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable, but it's like, wow, that's an impressive number. So speaking of handling situations, last night there was an incident. Don't really need to get into specifics, but there was an evacuation order, and at first, for those of us, we were hanging out at the Pony booth, awesome guys, just chatting with them, and suddenly alarms go off, and we're like, there's that moment where we're like, are they having trouble getting people out of here because it's been a few minutes after 6, and they're just like, no, seriously, get the hell out, it's away. And then you realize how the Guardians are getting a little more slight franticness in their voice. And you're like, okay, what's going on? So my question is, from your perspective, from other Guardians you've spoken to, what was that experience like, an emergency, essentially?
I can tell you what was going right through my head. First thing was, thank God, we just moved out all the attendees. So whatever's happening, the attendees are safe. And the next thing to worry about, because I was in the exhibit hall, was the exhibitors. So I had to quickly make sure all the exhibitors were safe. And fortunately, I had a great team that was working with me. We all worked very quickly. We understood exactly what the situation was. It didn't matter what it was. We understood it was a situation that we had to move with.
Yeah.
So we managed to get everyone out, and we understood that we had to keep people safe, so we had to push them back further from the building. And the communication was the important thing here. Mary and Chris did a wonderful job making sure the communication was very strong, everything was relayed. No one lost any heads, everyone was kept cool and collected, and we managed to, as a team, really, I mean, we're talking 300 people that we're managing to push back thousands. It was like 300, but in reverse, we're saving people, not destroying them. So, I don't know, it was really, for being the situation that it was remarkably calm, and, I don't want to toot our own horn, but I did have a number of people tell us that it was smooth. It was remarkably smooth. A lot of people said apparently this kind of thing happens at schools, and we had a lot of people say this was much better handled than a lot of those other situations. So, I can only say from the Guardian perspective that it was a team effort, and everyone did a wonderful job making sure that the exhibitors and attendees, everything was safe, and all the procedures were followed through with, the utmost of care.
That's outstanding. Yeah. Well, we, again, aforementioned local convention, there's a fire gets started just about every single year that I've been, and it's really bad getting out of there sometimes. Those alarms go off, and nobody, the people there, the volunteers, go, is kind of their response. So seeing the getting pushed out, but it was, again, it's an emergency situation, but everyone was so friendly, you need to leave, you need to go. We're evacuating the area. Okay, cool. And it was a very nice, smooth thing you guys did. So, final thing is, where can people find more information on SideQuest, more, if they want to contact you, or anything else related to the Rooster Teeth community?
Absolutely. RTSideQuest.com is our website, and there's a lot of stuff. We're not just getting involved with SideQuest, but getting involved with the community, such as the group. We have a compendium that, if you're located somewhere in the world, it helps you to find other community members that are nearby.
Okay.
We've got, if you're visiting Austin and you want to experience kind of what it's like, we have a list of every place the Rooster Teeth guys have ever talked about on the podcast and so forth. And a lot of people find that very useful if they want to visit that really nice restaurant that Jeff mentioned, And we have stuff like that we're always looking for stuff too. Like, we had a wonderful girl named Lisa from Scotland who made a series called Rooster Teeth is Fashionable. That's her group. So it's giving fashion advice to people who might be interested in going to our community auction, for example, and want to dress up and look really good.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for stuff like that can really help contribute back to the community, and finding community members who can contribute content like that. Obviously with a community focus. And RTSideQuest.com is the best one. We also have a group. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm an admin on roosterteeth.com, and I'm always happy to talk to people about anything related to the community at all.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time to chat with me, Dominic. This is a great thing to hear more about the community from someone who's been with the community for so long.
My pleasure.
So this has been Josh from Constant Calibrating, and we bid you good sign-off.